I'm Gen Z and I do not own a house or any property of that manner. As a perennial renter in this economy, I don't really think similar people like me have many options. So let's talk about a tax strategy that homeowners are able to take advantage of. If you are so lucky to own a home, you may be eligible to exclude up to $250,000 of the profits from your home sale if you're single, or $500,000 if married filing jointly. First and foremost, you are only able to perform this strategy if you're selling your primary residence. So, what is a primary residence? Per Publication 523, Revision 2025, the IRS will apply a facts and circumstances test to determine which is your main home. Things they will look at are your mailing address, voting registration, tax returns, DMV documents, work location, banking, familial proximity, and recreation. It does seem that the government has its grip on every single facet of your life when you realize how much they want to know. Let's see what the requirements are. The IRS needs to determine whether you meet ownership requirements. This means either you or your spouse own the home for at least 2 out of 5 years before your sale. For example, you sell your house in 2026 and owned it from 2023 to 2026. You qualify because that's a 3-year duration. It's larger than 2 years. Now we have to see if you meet residence requirements. You and your spouse must have physically lived in your home for at least 2 out of the 5-year period before selling your home, which means you can own your home for 3 years, but have lived in it for only 1 year. The rest of the time you lived in a vacation home that wasn't that house. This would not qualify for the exemption. There are specific exceptions for vacations, short absences, and hospitalization, but there's a lot more, right? You are only allowed to take this home sale exclusion every 2 years. If you sold a home and used the exclusion within 2 years, you do not qualify for this. There are various other rules and exclusions that apply to this rule, including divorce, death of spouse, active duty military treatment, etc. However, that's a lot. However, there are 2 automatic disqualifications. If you acquired the property during the past 5 years through a 1031 exchange, or in other words, a tax-qualified property exchange strategy, or 2, you are subject to an expatriate tax, or for those who renounce U.S. citizenship or residency for tax purposes, you may not use the exclusion. In a nutshell, if you qualify for the above conditions without running into an automatic disqualification, you may qualify. Tax law is complicated enough, but efficient tax treatment of real estate, property, and land can exacerbate its complexity. It can be overwhelming to process this when everyday life is difficult enough. But I promise you, we are in this together. And as always, please stay safe and stay informed.